Black Compass Media. Salute to everybody tuning in, everybody live in the building. We back again with another one. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, tell a friend, share the channel, all that good stuff, man. I got my guy Tone right here. Tone, what's up?
Tone, bro, checking in. Black Compass Media. Big salute to everybody, man. Salute to everybody that's doing their thing. Make sure you subscribe. Hit us up at Black Compass BCM as well. You know what I'm saying? People let me know how I sound on the chat as well, because I was having a little bit of mic issues before. But Polo, listen, man. I want to tell you something, bro. We've been doing this for a while. And the thing about it is, bro, is that this weekend that we just saw was epic for a lot of reasons, bro. For a lot of reasons. First of all, rest in peace to Pat Stay.
Rest in peace.
Shout out to his family and his legacy and all the fans that turned out for that. That meant something to all of us. That means something to all of us. So shout out to y'all for showing that man love. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Remy as well, delivered in New York City yet again. And we're going to get to that. But one of the things that happened was indeed epic if you are a fan of a certain type of cloth. And our guest here today is a certified legend. The accolades, the things that he did in this game, when he did them, were crazy then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. He was the first person to do a lot of these things. And what am I talking about? Yeah, the eras where we was in the tournaments before all the cameras, before the
freestyling,
when we was outside freestyling, and you had to come with that work, and you had to show and prove, and you had to have them skills. This man was on Smack DVD. This man took the craft from them dark rooms, battling some of y'all favorites and all that. Took that to 106 in Park, went crazy. Polo, right?
Yes, sir.
Back in the era. You understand me? Big white tees and all that. I gotta do this, Polo. I have to. But this man went up there. He showed and proved he's a legend. He's used his craft and his influence to influence hip hop and spread hip hop throughout the world, especially in Asia and throughout. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. But without further ado, we have the legend himself, MC JIN. JIN, what's up, man?
Yo, peace to the Black Compass Media family. Yo, what up? How y'all doing?
Yo, what's goody?
Man,
I wasn't ready for that, Tone, bro. I was not prepared for that, man.
Listen, this is that respect has to be due, right? Because part of what we do is we evangelize. Wait, hold on. Before we get to that, let's get to you, man. Let's give you the ISO, man. How is JIN doing? What's up? I see the shirt.
Right off top. Long live Pat Stay. Cause in no way can I avoid it. I'm talking to y'all right now, really also because of Pat. In a way, right? Like, it's a very long, like, I could connect all the dots to it. But what I mean is, clearly I'm coming off of this weekend. And I don't even mean, I'm coming off this weekend and being involved in that this Stay Forever event. I'm talking purely as a fan. I'm still riding the high off of that event. I was only able to experience day one, which was mind-blowing. The day two was also fire card. But my point is, this weekend was all about this man and his legacy, supporting his family. And so much of it really in the last 48 to 72 hours for me is rooted around him. And just to clarify, like, I think for so many of us, whether you're a battler, you're a fan, you're in the media space, you know, some of us got to interact and connect with him in various ways. Some known him longer, some known him shorter, but I'm coming to see that regardless, right? It's not about how much or short. Yo, the impact that this gentleman made on so many of us, including me, is just mind-blowing. So, yeah, man, long live Pat Stay. Just off top, I want to get that out. I want to get that out there.
100%. And you know, and it is tough for the entire community, especially, you know what I'm saying? Are there, you know, because Pat was a jovial guy, probably one of our best interviews up here, right, Polo? Like,
Pat was funny.
You know, he was a transparent guy and things like that. Any, you know, briefly for us, because we like to reflect and stuff like that. Any stories of Pat or any things, any moments for you stand out as far as Pat Stay goes?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, if I were to try to channel him into this right now, right, because I'm just coming off of the high of the speaker, I feel like every 5 to 10 seconds, I just got to be like, and here's the other thing. Any other rapper, any other artist that'd be like, that would feel compelled to be like, yo, pause, right? Yo,
Right.
he would do it even more so just to get on you, right?
Just
like
yeah.
if he knew it made you nervous, he'd be like, so listen, Tone, bro. You know what I mean? Tone, bro. But hey,
cut that shit out.
But another thing is, yo, the thing I'm getting more and more now from just the interactions with people that knew him well, that knew him long, or even short, like I said, is what he represented transcended the battle rap thing. I think why his kind of super tragic and super like untimely, like just departing from us, right, is that it's more about who he was as a person, right? And kind of, he's a man with his history, and he's not perfect by any means, right? He has his flaws, but it's almost like how he embraced those flaws. And more importantly, it's almost in how he turned them around. So I think you were asking me like if I had like a more personal thing. So my most personal thing is, and it ties back into even how I got looped into this weekend and kind of doing the pop-up, right?
Yeah.
My only real engagement with him was when he hit me up on IG, and he was like, yo, I do this thing on my IG live. It's called Stay Tuned, where I just talk to all type of people. And he was super enthusiastic about it, like basically trying to like butter me up, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to mad butter. I'm gonna try to capture the spirit of Pat.
Yeah.
Mad butter. Yeah, he was trying to butter me up to see if I would be down to do it. But little did he know, I was probably more enthusiastic about doing it than he was, because I was very familiar with it. I seen when he had all type of people, right? So he's talking to battlers, he's talking to Shaq, he's talking to all type of people that I'm like, yo, I'm mind blown. Like, yo, you got him to chop it up with you. But now that I think about it, I shouldn't be that surprised, because like I said, it's Pat. You know what I mean? Like he just has that gravitational pull. So we ended up doing it, and at the time I was already thrilled to get to chop it up with him. But now in hindsight, I treasure those 45 minutes so much. And how it kind of correlates with, like I said, me tapping into this weekend is there was one thing he really, really like imprinted on me in that talk, because the topic was about, and here we are on this platform. It's great to talk about. It was about battle rap, right? So much of what we talk was about battle rap. But the topic was kind of around where I fit into this thing, where I fit into the conversation, whether it's legacy, and in this case, whether it's, I'll just throw it out there for everybody right now. Yo, how would JIN do in this era? Let's just say that, right?
Yeah.
So my response to him at that time was like, and we went kind of like, we were ping-ponging back and forth. I was just like, yo, Pat, I've talked to so many people about this on cam, off cam. And, my thing was just, I'm very aware, right? I'm more aware than I think a lot of people are. But here's what he kind of like, he shattered my whole psyche. It's like, he was like, yo, I'm not saying you're not aware, but there might be one thing that you're not aware of and you're overlooking, is that you're JIN, right? So, and it's a simple point. And I think even at the time that we was doing the Stay Tuned, I don't think I'm sitting there and I'm watching him, I'm receiving it, but I don't really think it hit me in the soul yet. But after this weekend, I got it. I get what he's saying. Like, yeah, of course, like if you're away from something for 17 years, which I have been, and I have, right? Like at least prior to this weekend, I wasn't in that space at all. Of course, there's things you got to polish. You got to know, like, it's a different time. It's a different craft. The core of it is still battling, but it's so much beyond what you remember it as, JIN, right? So I'm aware of that. But I think what Pat was trying to tell me is like, okay, we get all of that, JIN. I see what you're saying about that. But you're JIN, right? And he just like,
right.
Mad lip licking. You're JIN. And so this weekend, man, I'm just so honored and so thrilled that, number one, I got to be part of something so meaningful to honor him and support his fam, right? Melissa, his wife, and their kids.
Right.
But then also, in a selfish way, man, I left this weekend feeling like just with more clarity in my mind about where I stand in this.
Yeah.
You feel like you got it. You feel like you got it back.
You know what, Polo? It's not even so much a got it back thing. I think, did I have a blast? Did I have fun? And if you're like, yo, well, how do you assess your kind of return? Let's just say, first of all, I would, me being the super analytical, hypercritical type, I wouldn't call it a full return, because I mean, let's call it what it is, right? I sparred. It was more like I sparred a bit, but I am sparring with Ilmac, who is, I mean, it's not a light, you know, I know we weren't going for each other's throat too. That's the other thing, right? But if you were to just ask me like, how did it feel? It felt amazing. I don't think the comfortability thing was not the issue. Soon as I stepped on, comfort, even when I've watched it, like, I ain't gonna lie, I've watched it like 40 times already.
Just to assess, just to
assess it. You know what? Not to assess, not only to assess, but to relive it. Because it was surreal. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, so the comfortability thing wasn't an issue at all. But I am super aware that as it was happening, I felt like, I described this to a lot of people. I felt right at home, but I also felt like a fish out of water at the same time. I'm like, yo, no, I've been here before.
It's like Frank Lucas at the end of American Gangster when he come out to jail and it's hip hop now. He's just like, oh, word? Okay.
I think the other thing is what worked for me, and I'm gonna throw it back to y'all because I don't want it to be just me like blah, right?
We got questions.
Yeah. But this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I'm gonna throw the ball back at y'all. Is that I feel the thing that really worked for me is that as much as people think I'm not tapped in, or maybe I should say, like, to the naked eye, we haven't seen JIN outside since forever, and you haven't, because I haven't, right? But simultaneously, purely as a fan, I've never been more tapped in. Does that make sense? Because honestly, prior to this, while I'm in it, you can't really be full on fan mode. Whereas what I'm saying is, for the last like 15 plus years, I pretty much have been full on fan mode. I mean, the battling of JIN is still in me, but he's kind of like tucked away somewhere. You know, I don't know where he was. So I'm watching purely as a fan, and as a fan, you're studying, you're analyzing, you're dissecting. So I think that really worked for me as I was prepping for it. And then even as I got into there, and I'm standing on the stage, you know what I mean? Because it is a lot. I had like a handful of conversations with Hollow about it, with Ilmac himself, with DNA, all these guys, you know, like, and that part to me was also the really, really fulfilling and rewarding part about this weekend is those moments. You know, like, just like, oh snap, real sick, what up, right? And and all these guys, you know, Lou, it was a great, man. It was such a dope thing.
Okay, Polo, go ahead, bro.
What? Okay. Well, you said you was you basically said you continue watching battle rap. What do you think about it now? Like, how do you think it's changed from your era to this era now? Like, what's changed the most about battle rap to you?
Super dope question, man. You familiar with Bones Brigante?
Come on, of course. That's my guy.
Come on, okay, got you. That's the guy. I was on the phone with him for like 45 minutes today, right? So you know, we kind of are and aren't from that. We are from the same era. So he pretty much ran the BET, the Freestyle Friday thing, right? He ran the 7-week thing, but it was probably like maybe 4 years or so following me. So I did it in like what, 2001, right? 2001 or something like that.
Yeah.
01. So he came around, he spun the block in like 03, 04, something to that effect. But the point I'm trying to make is our 45-minute conversation today pretty much revolved around the question that you just posed, which is kind of the what's still the same, but what isn't the same, or what has evolved. And damn, a lot of it has evolved, right? Let's get to it. I mean, number one, just the scale of it. Right. I mean, you look at, I might be stating the obvious to the viewers and all of the people that might be watching this, but I mean, I'll just say it like, like the fact that there's face-offs now, like you would have never thought that'd be a face-off.
How would a face-off been going in your era, bro? Like,
well, there was no such thing. I mean, this is the era of majority of the times it's like an on-site thing. It was on-site. There's no, the face-off is the battle. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, let's talk about what's gonna happen 2 weeks from now. What I'm gonna do to you. Let me try to play mind games and or to wore you out for the battle that's happening in 2 weeks. There's none of that. It's like, oh, you do this, I do this too, and then you go into it, right? That's just one component of it, but I think that speaks to the bigger component, which is the scale. I think I was saying the scale of it, like. And so I just want to clarify, I love it. Like, I mean, like, I think if people are like, well, what does JIN really think of it? I love it. I think with anything that's growing and scaling, there's bound to be things that can turn into negatives, right? So I've seen and heard, and this is not just like this recent time, but even in the last 5-10 years, as it's continued to be like this, right? So even just the idea of big money coming into play, right? That could be a double-edged sword. And what I mean is like, so this is non-existent. The idea that you could get booked for a battle. So it's not like, yo, you win because I know there's like the tourney thing feels like it's only in the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Like the tourney, you know what I mean? Like the tourney for 100K, tourney for 50 or whatever, right? 25K, the grand. Shout out to all of them. And I think you mentioned it, Tone, bro. Like, yeah, I kind of come from the tourney cloth. It's different though. I remember like, I did 2 Fight Club tourneys. And at the time, you're right though, because when you said it, I was like, yo, that's a valid thing. At the time, it was mind-blowing because it had not happened before. But Fight Club basically was like, yo, we doing, the scale of it was small. It was like a four-man tourney, right? So we got 4 guys, and it's a 50, the bag is 50K, right? Or something like that. And I remember even for me participating in it, I was already like, yo, my eyes was like, what? Like, this is unheard of, you know what I mean? And yo, man, like, I don't know how else to say it, but I took that home twice, right? Like I took it home twice. I took that home twice, right? So I don't. Yeah. I took it home twice, and I think that speaks more to that era of JIN. He was hungry. That too, you know what I mean? And I think it's not even about hungry for the bag. He has something to prove,
right?
And I think that was the main ammunition. Like not ammunition, but that was the main driving factor. Is that was just my mindset at the time. So these are the shifts. I think these are the shifts. It's kind of like just the scale of things getting booked, like I was saying, because now it's not even like so much like, yo, I got to look for these tourneys where there's 50K or 100K or 20K. Now it's just like, yo, if I build my name up enough, I could sign a deal with this platform or whatever, and I'm guaranteed X amount, like for 5 battles. I personally think that's amazing. Like, I think it's amazing. So
in terms of being able to do that, especially now because the companies seem like labels and they kind of move that way. That's what it is now. But like the other things, we'd be remiss if we mention the other things that we've seen recently.
Yes.
Things like paperwork, fake angles.
Yo, it's funny you say that.
Help me.
Yo,
I see what you did too. I see you. Yeah. But fake angles, paperwork, rehearsing.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah,
I did the paperwork thing too, and it's funny because I don't kind of want to spoil it for people that haven't watched the stream or haven't seen the full capacity of it, but that was very specific. It was very intentional. And of course, there's like a satire to what I did, right? Because I think like that was kind of my way of, I don't want to say I'm poking fun at it, but that was my way of kind of saying I'm tapped into, right? Like I know what's going on, right?
Right.
And then, but I just connected it, and just because my opponent was Ilmac, cool. This is groundbreaking too. Yo, Ilmac is the first person I've ever battled that I'm taller than.
He's like, oh, look at this. Like, you the same weight as your birth certificate now. 36 years later. Like, yeah.
I mean, that was the way I played it. But, and he, it's all in love, right? So, but to your point, that stuff is, I mean, it's a little bit outside of the box. Like you talk about like the paperwork, fake angles. So even if you take the paperwork part out, right? The actual physical, here's the court documents, right? Like if you take that out, just the idea of fake angles as far as like, this is what you did and he got the da-da-da and he told him and, like, I can't call it, you know what I mean? Like, I think I do have one thought, which is at the end of the day, the angle will only get you as far as how you deliver it and how you execute it, right? So I guess my point is not so much about the angle, but it's about the craftsmanship. Like how are you presenting it to the people? And I mean, I guess, even if it is fake and you make it convincing, then more power to you, right? But this is where it gets, to me, this is where the part where I feel like, I'm not saying that's the part that would make me shy away from it, but I do feel like that energy of it is the thing that I probably would be like, I don't know if I need that in my life. You know what I mean? I'm not like, not that I'm even entertaining. Yeah, I'm coming back in. After this weekend, I'm ready to, give me some small rooms. I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's far from that. But I will say, like, I've been thinking a lot about this stuff, and this is part of my conversation with Bones today too, man. So, yeah.
So if let's say Smack call you, know what I'm saying?
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Know what I'm saying?
Nah,
He
I'm
got
saying.
he got a little 3 or even ARP
Right.
or Remy. One of them
Right.
3 call you, they got a little situation for you. Would you be open to doing that?
Yo, respectfully, and just with so much respect and admiration for anybody you just mentioned, including, like, I know Chrome 23 is like a new thing that Rem's doing, but whoever, I'm just saying across the board, respectfully, I feel like I came out of this weekend, and I know it's kind of like there's like a contradiction to what I'm about to say, but I feel like coming out of this weekend, I had such a good time and such a rejuvenating feeling, right? Coming out of that little sparring with Ilmac. But at the same time, it gave me more clarity that, yo, this isn't my space. Like, it's not. So to answer your question, like, as of this moment here right now, I don't see it. Like, and I know you mentioned, like, yo, the little situation. I've always been vocal. I've said this on probably any of the various platforms that I've done over the last few years that are kind of battle centric, right?
Sure.
It's never been about the bag. It's never been about the look. And I'm not even saying that, like, if you are chasing the bag, that there's something wrong with that. Or I'm not saying that if you're chasing it for the look, I mean, to each his own, to each his own. But I've just always been so conscious in here that if I'm not pursuing this purely because in my heart I really want to do it, it's gonna be a train wreck. It's gonna be in a negative way. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a disaster. You know what I mean? And this weekend is what proved it to me. Because this weekend, why I had absolutely no reservations about it from the moment that, let's say, Organic and the King of the Dot, Nino Bless, he's a key figure in this. The reason why I had no reservations right out the gate is because, yo, I wanted to do it for Pat. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I wanted to do it for Pat, you know, so that's why.
How long did y'all know about this battle? Like, how long did you have to prepare for this?
So he kind of gave me the initial call around, let's say, towards the end of January. So what is it? Like I said, like a little over a month. Yeah, like a little over a month. Because I think the first week or two of it, it was more about if I'm interested or not, as opposed to we locking it in, right? Like, I mean, so not like there was like contracts or anything. I feel like everybody was so on board with this from a pure place, right? I mean, so this is all public knowledge, but yo, there was no fees, right? Nobody charged anything, whether it was the performers, whether it was the crew, the everything that you see to bring it to life. It was just a lot of volunteer type sentiment, you know?
Right.
So after like a week or two of throwing the idea of what it would be, because initially it was supposed to be disaster, right? And this is kind of out there. It was supposed to be out there too, because the history is there too. I mean, because at one point, so this goes back to, there's like a little battle rap history stuff.
Oh yeah,
right?
do this, Jin. We got to teach our audience. You got to understand.
Well, at one point, so this is almost like, not almost, but this is like 10 years back. So 2011, 2012, yo, Disaster was just he was on a warpath. Like, he was just, I want to battle. His stance was, I want to battle anybody that y'all think is even remotely worthy. Like anybody that y'all think is the man, that's who I want. So he was just like on a warpath for that. And I guess for whatever it's worth, I was part of that. I was part of that sniper list, right? Like I got to snipe all of y'all, and Jin is on the list. So it's just like, in terms of like destinies, right? At the time when he was on his warpath, I was in Hong Kong at the time. So I was in Hong Kong. I was out there for like 2-3 years already, right? Like doing just trying to keep my head above water, to be honest, right? Like when I first got out there, I got a chance to do an album in Cantonese, which was like, I was like, what am I doing out here? But it was dope, you know what I mean? And it was great. And that opened doors for me to do like acting and hosting, and it just was so fruitful. But after like 2-3 years, I suddenly, because here's the thing, I'm still tapped in at that time. This is the crazy thing.
You still tapped in.
I'm still watching. So here's the thing. I know exactly who Disaster is. So if you go back in the timeline, this is kind of like the grind time. Like they had Grind Time East, Grind Time West, Grind Time Florida, and And for the people that are like maybe not that tapped into grind time, I tell you this is the era where you have like a young DNA who's like on a warpath. You have a young Conceited. You have a young, you have a lot of young, the Cortez, all these young guys, RIP to PH, right? But it's just, yo, Swave, like, yo, and I mean, at that point, Swave was already an OG. So, I mean, shout out to Swave.
Don't do that.
I almost slipped. I almost said, you had a young Swave. I know people like young Swave. What? Shout out, on that note, man, Swave sent me a super heartfelt message this morning. So I even before the message, I had nothing but love and admiration for Swave, but he sent me this message this morning, just like, yo, Jin, man, I just want to tell you, man, I love you, and your heart for this thing we love, this battle culture, is just so pure, and it's so, it's so visible. And he was just saying, man, I just want to tell you I love you for it, right? So, man, so shout out to Swave, man. But my point is, so Diz was chasing me down, and I was out of my mind too at the time. So I'm in Hong Kong. I'm like hosting like TV shows. I'm like doing commercials for like sports beverages, right? Like,
flex a little bit. Yeah. All this. Talk about it.
I'm doing all that. But for some reason or another, I made this really, it was like a rash decision. I basically responded to him. He was chasing me down, doing blogs, making little jingles, like little like tiki tiki tong 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 tong. But no, yo, go ahead and laugh. The beauty of it is, though, this is what growth is about. This is about growth. Okay. And this is about becoming men. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, here we are 10 years now, and me and Diz, I mean, he don't want to bring it up, but, we know that that's the history of it. But right. Me and Diz have a really solid, like, rapport now, right? So anyhow, in my rash young mindset, it's 10 years ago only, sure. I respond and I say, all right, Diz, you got it. I'll come out, I'll come out to Cali, because they had like an event planned already. Mm-hmm. So I said, I'll come out to Cali. I'll grant your wish, but on one condition. I get to battle Ilmac also. So this was my response to it at the time. Right. It's a really crazy response now that I think back on it.
Now you think about, you was wilding. You was.
I was wilding. And the root of that is because I forgot to talk to Ilmac about this. I think that wasn't out of nowhere. Number one, I always thought Ilmac was nice. He was super nice then already. But of course, everyone has evolved and gotten sharper as time went on, right? But he had this one line. I think he was battling Hollow. Everything is full circle, yo. Everything is full circle. Because it was in the Hollow and Sharon battle where we popped out, right? Right. So Ilmac is battling Hollow, and while he's battling Hollow, this is at another grind time thing. He says to Hollow something to the effect like, "You think you was the champ on 106, but so what? Because so was Jin, and Jin sucks." So,
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
He looked right into the camera and said that.
He said that. And now me, little Jin, good old Jin. Yeah. Like I said, I'm in Hong Kong, but I'm still super like, okay, let's see what this grind time battle is. Like, oh, you got these guys. Who's this guy right here? Right. So I'm watching Hollow and I'm watching him. I'm like super like captivated by it. Out of nowhere. Them straight shots. Them shots be flying. Damn. So, boom. So I'm drinking my sports drink, the one that I'm the spokesperson for. Right. And I'm like, yo, this dude right here sent a shot at me for no reason. So that's kind of the root of why I said I'll fly. I'll come out to Cali. Diz, request granted, but I also want Ilmac, right? But here's how life works. It all kind of fell apart. And I think the thing is, it wasn't because of one person. So it wasn't really like I ducked, anybody ducked, or whatever ducked. It was actually like in the course of it being planned and prepared, it was just like red flag here, red flag there, red flag there, red flag there. And then ultimately,
circa 2011, 12.
Yeah.
All right. I remember that. Remember Polo? Remember that era?
I remember it. I'm just listening to the story.
So I mean, I'll jump from that all the way to this past weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So how it transitions into this past weekend is, at first when Gannick and the KOTD team kind of hit me about it, Nino, I was on board for Diz, to be honest. But this is why destiny plays such a big part in life, right? Like we choose what we do and we choose how we navigate it, but half of it is also just destiny. Half of it is what the universe wants. For me, I'm a man of God, so for me, like not half of it, but all of it is it's God's plan, right? Like, I mean, he gives us the choice and the option to go left or go right, but there is a sovereignty to how he oversees things, right? So, but also because I'm a firm believer that I always say, man, I don't want anything but what God wants for me. So in terms of like whether a door closes or opens, even if there's something behind the door that I'm like, man, that would be crazy. That would be a good look. I want that. I want that role. I want that, whatever it is. But I'm so convicted about, just because of my journey. I'm like, yo, God, but if this is not of you, please close that door. That's the number one thing that I wish for. And simultaneously, I'm like, even if it's something that I don't want, but you have the door open, God, give me the strength and the grace to go that way, right? So when they kind of said, yo, we're gonna have you do a surprise pop-up with Diz, right? Like so-and-so, Sharon will bring you out in the third round, Hollow will bring out Diz, and boom, and everyone will lose their mind. Honestly, at that point, I was already like, I'm locked in. But the reason is only also because of Pat. Because in my mind, I was just like, I'm just down to do whatever it is to be part of this. Because I want to honor Pat and I want to be part of this, right? But that fell through because of Diz's, like, his leg situation. So he had like an injury, and it's pretty serious, like a torn ACL.
Right.
So when I spoke to Diz, me and Diz had a one-on-one about it, and he was just like, yo, man, the thing is just, I'm planning for the surgery. The date may overlap with the event. It may not overlap with the event, right? So I'm just like, yo, of course your health and your recovery is priority, right? So if you're not able to make it out there, there's really nothing else more for us to say. So I kind of let go of the whole thing. I was bummed too, because I was hyped about it. But then not long after that, they kind of circled back, and this is Nino again. This is Nino. Nino was like, yo, Jin, Ilmac works too. And then I was like, Ilmac does work. And then so then
you remember. Like JIN won and he sucked. Oh yeah.
He said, JIN won and JIN sucks, right? But all of that is secondary. I think for me, I was just like, my tunnel vision was on, one, I want to do this for Pat, and two, whoever it is, I'm kind of like, I want it to make sense. But it did make sense. That's the point. This is why I mean about, like, you have Pat's spirit, that I feel like all of us have been saying this these last 2-3 days. Organic, everybody. Pat's spirit was all over this, and his orchestration of how everything unfolded is just, I don't know. It's it's so present to us, right? But I'm also of the mindset that, man, like, you could go even further back and say, yo, God orchestrated this whole thing, right? Like the way it all unfolded, and I'm just one small piece in not only the weekend, but in this whole thing. So. Yeah, man, it's pretty dope, man. Long live Pat Stay.
We know you got to get out of here. I want to ask you, who's your top 5 all-time battle rappers?
Damn, like that? Yeah, I got another like 5 minutes before I got cut out. All right, top 5. Oh man. See, we burning precious time by doing this, man. I kind of can give off 5 that are, for me, that in my heart I hold in high regards. Like, I'm like, wow. So I'll say Pat for sure for one, off top. And I just want to clarify, this has nothing to do with him not being here anymore. I mean, even if I wish he was here, right? And I wish I could say, yo, he is, while he's here. But I'm so glad that even if it was only 1 or 2 times, I got to, as the kids say, I got to kind of give him his flowers in that way. You know what I mean? Like in interviews and things like that. Like, yo, who you checking for? And I'm like, yo, this guy Pat Stay, whatever he's doing, tune me in, because I'm, so Pat is one. I'll say Diz. I'll put Diz up there. In my mind, Diz is up there because of a couple of things. Longevity. He's been battling, and it's, I know longevity is just one part of it, but he's been he's been in all of these eras. So to me, that's a big part of like, yo, you can't really be like, I'm in the top 5 if you've only seen like certain eras of it, right? Which is why the top 5 thing is always tricky, because then you're like, are we talking top 5 of all time? But you did say top 5 of all time, right?
Yeah,
so
all time.
So not currently. All right. So I'll put Diz in there. To me, someone like Lux is in my top 5. Lux is in my top 5. So that's 3, right? You see how yo, they be running out fast. There's only 2. Yo.
That's
all right, so
they do.
Yo, I got it. Here's my 4 and 5. Polo and Tone Bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some shit Pat Stay would have said for real.
Yeah. Now I wanna say this too as well. You know, I am a connoisseur of hip hop and things like that. And you know, what you were able to do with 106 in Park, and then to parlay that into an acting and a musical career as well. I'm not gonna front, that shit was crazy. They said Jin got signed to Rough Rider. I said, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? And you had the opportunity to work with the late great DMX, and I know that you guys were able to do some tributary stuff for him and stuff like that. And I just want to get your reflections on X, because I find his music more powerful now. I'm listening to, and then there was X now, because nobody's making music like that, and nobody's talking like that. And then the fact that you have this, you know, you found Christianity and you have that faith, and DMX always professed that. Like I find that interesting as well. So you know, what's your perspective on DMX? And you know, if you could share some insights with us, definitely appreciate that.
A great question.
Yeah, man. It's for real, man. It's surreal, man. You know, it's so much for me to unpack, even just with that chapter of my life and my career journey. I'm talking about the Rough Rider thing, because I could go all the way back. So I was born and raised in Miami. I remember when I was like probably 16, 17, X was working on not the first album, but the second one, Flesh in My Flesh. So he was in Miami working on that. And I mean, they were down in Miami a lot, right? A lot of artists already were down in Miami at the time. So this is like 99, right? Like 98, 99, 2000. So we going back in time. Right. And I was like probably like in 11th grade, 11th, 12th grade. And when we got word that X is over at the studio that was in our neighborhood, I lived in North Miami Beach. Yo, we all flocked over there. And there's the gate outside. And I think the craziest thing was one time I had seen him like walking into the studio, and we was just all us kids outside, just like, yo, X, right? He turned back and he was just like, he was just being X, what up, right? What up? Yeah. So at that point, I never got to interact with him. But the crazy thing is, we was outside at the gates, right? So this is like 17, 18-year-old Jin. I was already in my bag. Like, I'm talking about just like battling everyone. Yo, anywhere, anytime.
You was running down on it. You running down.
So it was almost by default on the little gate that's outside the studio, right? It's exactly how you imagine it if you close your eyes. There's the metal gate. Behind the gate, there's like a basketball hoop. This is like kind of the standard setup for a lot of studios, right?
Yeah.
Basketball hoop, and then like the 2 or 3 whips that are parked outside, right? So I see the CEO. I mean, so you know, it's D and Y, the brothers of the Rough Rider empire. Yeah. And I see D coming in and out. So as they coming in and out, I just start spitting, right? So I'm spitting. I got like some of my boys behind me. There's other neighborhood kids. I'm not battling nobody. I'm just spitting. And you know me, at that time, I was already like, I was off the top Jin. That's kind of always been my thing, right? Off the top Jin. So I'm just spitting about like his outfit, what car he's going in, all of that, right? And then, yo, this is the most mind-blowing thing. It doesn't have to do with X, but it does. So here's what happens. Out of nowhere, the thing starts going, choke, 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 choke. And we all like, yo, what's happening? And D, right? D's like, yeah, get that kid right there. Tell him to come in. Yo, we all like, who? And then, I don't know if D specified, but let's just say for the sake of the story, get that Chinese kid right there. Because I am 1,000% sure I was the only Chinese kid standing outside the gate. I might have been the only Chinese kid in like a 500-mile radius, for that matter, right? But the gate open, and he's like, yeah, get him right there. So I go in and I spit some more, right? I spit for them, you know, I kick a couple writtens. I don't even know, whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, it ended with this. It didn't end with like, yeah, man, here's your contract, you're signed. It didn't end like that. It ended with, yo, keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. Because I was only like 17, 18 at the time. Yeah, keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. But here's the full circle. 106 in Park. It's like week 4 or 5. Yo, I signed with them. I mean, it's more detailed than that. But week 4 or 5, I'm on my run on 106. And then in the midst of the run, as I'm kind of talking to different labels, yo, basically Double R's like, yo, this is the vision. We're going to close the deal. And by the time you win the 7th week, we're going to have you pull the chain out and just be like, so my point
Wait a second. Wait a minute.
like,
Wait a minute.
They knew you was going to win.
That means they knew you was going to do. You know what? All right.
But to tie in the X,
that was hard.
But the one X story, the one really like is a simple interaction.
Sure.
But it was and I posted this on IG maybe like 2-3 weeks back, just in some like kind of like a more humorous thing.
Sure.
You know that video, get it on the floor, get it on the floor. You don't want to party, then your ass gotta go. You know what, right? So I somehow forgot that I was in that video, right? So I'm watching, I forgot. I'm just revisiting it for old time's sake. And there's one shot where X is like walking into the club and he's got like drag behind him. Right. He's got like other, you know, his crew, like his crew, right? And then, of course, for the sake of the video, someone must have been like, yo, have Jin go up behind him too. So they all walking together. So I'm just like, yo, I'm about to walk into the club in this shot with X and drag. So I posted it on IG just on some like, don't blink. Yes. But the thing is, that video shoot is probably the most memorable to me because that was my first time face to face with X. And it was simple. He was like a very cordial, like, yo, what's up, X? I'm Jin, da da da. But the thing he said was just, yo, congrats, right? Just a simple, yo, you know, like essentially, yo, congrats on getting to where you are right now. Congrats, and yo, keep doing your thing. That's all I need from X, yo. That's all I need, you know, like,
man, that's fine.
That's all I need.
Wow,
that's all I need.
That's dope.
And
man.
yo, here we are 20 years later, though, man.
Yeah.
And I listen respectfully. I like a lot of new artists. I ain't seen another DMX that type energy. Play
you know what?
At me, dog, and Rough Riders Anthem, and then pray for us at the end.
Kids,
I don't know nobody doing that.
So, kids, this is the moral of the story. You see what happens when you follow your heart and you follow the Black Compass. Boom.
Long live Pat, man.
Yeah. You don't think? Let's be honest. You don't think Pat followed the Black Compass? Yo, I'll give it up. I followed the Black Compass. I didn't even know. Yo, here's the thing. I didn't know it was a Black Compass at the time. But yo, God put the Black Compass in my life. Right. And I had the choice to follow it or not follow it, right? I followed. Yo, where did the Black Compass lead me? Black Entertainment Television.
That's it. Hey, Jim, man, this is classic, man. I appreciate you, bro. I know you don't always come outside for everything, but I just want to tell you, as fans of the culture, on behalf of this platform and the fans that's watching right now, we appreciate what you did. You made new tracks in the snow in this culture. You made us see what was possible. You know what I'm saying? And you did that at an early, formidable time in battle rap. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the ISO. You can talk to the fans. We definitely want to hear what else you got going on and give them your contacts and things like that. It's on you. You get the ISO, bro.
Yo, man, hey, man, I get older and I'll say this, man, just to shift it back to what we've been talking about this whole time. Peace to everybody that's tuned in or who might be watching this in a future date. Prior to getting on here and chopping it up with Polo and Tone, I watched about 3 to 5 minutes of Pat on here. And I think the thing that struck me, it didn't surprise me, but you guys asked him, yo, before we kick it off, how are you, Pat? How are you? And I think he mentioned that, I think because, he was just coming off of a battle. It felt like, But you guys were like, yo, you good? How are you? But quickly he shifted away from anything battle related. And he was just like, yo, I'm good. Like, he's like, I'm good, right? He's like, in terms of just life, right? Because he zeroed it back to the most simple things. He's like, I got my family that loves me. He's like, yo, I got the clothes on my back. Like, and he emphasized, he's like, I'm not saying like, yo, I'm not I'm doing better than everyone, right? But he's just like, yo, man, I could be doing a lot worse. And I think that's such a simple thing, you know? And I think it's that type of heart and that type of perspective that also made Pat unique. You know, it made him unique, especially in not only just in this battle world, but in the world. And, you know, especially in the time we're living in now, where it's so easy to get caught up in feeling like you need more. It's no problem with having aspirations, but I do feel like sometimes we just end up chasing our own tail as far as what we need to feel fulfilled. So shout out to Pat for just kind of really, you know, using every opportunity to share and show that. Shout out to his fam, his kids. And for me, man, if you're like, yo, what should we check out, Jin? I mean, I'll be on IG, I'll be on Twitter. It's I am MC Jin, spelled exactly how it sounds. I am MC Jin. So this year, I'm actually trying to get back into the music thing. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I know it's very vague, but you keep an eye out.
Dig it out of here, man.
Yo, peace to y'all. Keep an eye out for new music, and just trying to create. I know it's very vague, but I mean it wholeheartedly. Just trying to create, continue to tell my story, continue to be creative, right? So whether it's in the form of music, the acting, writing, stand up, right? I got into stand up like about 5-6 years ago. That's a dope, and I'm such a noob in that. Like I got to do probably like 150 more PGs.
Yeah,
we told him you got to do like 5,000.
You
got to do 5,000 PGs before you can even say you're a stand-up comic. To be honest,
right.
So I've done about like 1,000 PGs right now. So
okay.
I'm working my way there, right?
Yeah, man. The ultimate renaissance, man. I appreciate you, brother, and I definitely want to give you your props and things like that, man. But be safe, you know what I'm saying? And don't be a stranger. If you come back outside, you're gonna be there.
Right? Last thing. By the way, one more bar about the stand-up comedy thing. Someone like me, you got to do the PGs, and you got, unless you're T.I., then you could go straight to the night of main events. Yo, unless you're T.I., then you go straight to Summer Madness.
To the box office. That's a fact.
You go straight to Summer Madness. You good. If you're T.I., your face suddenly is on the caffeine app.
Right.
All right, y'all. Peace.
All right, salute.
You, Jin. Big salute, man. That's MC Jin. That is a legend himself.
Why this dude waited to the end of the show to donate to ask a question? Come on, man.
Oh yeah, Mr. Entertainment, man. I appreciate. Come on, man.
Thank you for the $1.99.
Appreciate you for the $1.99. You know what I mean? You and Kathy Bart. Should have asked that one earlier. But big salute to Jin for coming through. You know what I'm saying? I can't like even. Because it's hard to adjust for inflation, right? When we talk about, because social media changed everything. When you're talking about the era before social media, when everything was word of mouth, when the TRLs and the 106 in Park really set the standard for what the culture was talking about. We didn't have that many things. So word of mouth was what it was. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jim verse, every barbershop I was in was playing it. Everybody knew about that situation. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, you know, like for him to be able to take the craft and do that and be able to still be out here and motivating and working, it's a blessing, bro. You know what I'm saying? But
we back. We got Easy coming right after this, so don't go nowhere. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We got Easy the Block Captain. It's gonna be a movie. Right. So just make sure you get your popcorn, your blunt roll. We back at 9:15-ish, 9:10. All right.
Something like that. So big salute to y'all. Follow us at Black Compass BCM on Twitter and all of that. And shout to y'all, man. Y'all be good. Peace.